All right, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been eliminated from the playoffs. They are the 14th and final team that is entering the offseason with the playoffs starting on Saturday. Where do we start with the Thunder? Well, first, you can find everything about Oklahoma City on ESPN.com in the offseason outlook for all 14 teams. They are now go above, they are the top team, then Chicago, New Orleans, kind of goes in order once you get eliminated here. So you can go on ESPN.com. You can read all about it. It's on the NBA section, one document with everything you need to know about the Oklahoma City Thunder. As you can see, their resources to build a roster is behind me. It is loaded. We're going to go through it. Where do we start? I mean, to get basically 2 playoff games under your belt for the youngest team in the NBA, second youngest team in NBA history, to get the New Orleans game a win, certainly not what you wanted in Minnesota tonight, but it is just part of the process here. I mean, did anybody expect this Thunder team to be where they are right now? And they have only scratched the surface. It's kind of like, yeah, you'd love to get Denver in the first round, but it's almost like a win-win. You get 2 playoff games under your belt and you get a lottery pick. And they'll have the 11th or 12th pick in the draft. They're tied with Chicago, whose pick is going to Orlando likely. 1.8% chance at the number 1 pick. You never know. Maybe the lottery gods will be smiling on Oklahoma City for how they've built their roster the right way. And they only have 4 free agents, and 2 of them are their two-way players. Dario Saric is unrestricted. Lindy Waters is a team option here. But listen, I mean, we can go on and on about Oklahoma City as far as how they've built this and where they're going, certainly with their draft picks. But as far as the state of the roster, I mean, look what's behind me. I mean, they've got 3 picks in the draft. One's a lottery pick, as I mentioned. You've got your future assets are loaded, not including this year. You've got 14 number 1s and 12 2s. You've got 26 draft picks over the next 6 years here, and we'll eventually get into what they have as far as draft picks. But you are loaded, and then your young core: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, both Williams, Jalen, Josh Giddey. I mean, the list goes on as far as we haven't even seen Chet Holmgren their pick from number 2 pick from last year, who's out for the whole year. They've got 14 players under contract. There's no player outside of Gilgeous-Alexander who earns more than $20 million. They could enter the offseason with cap space if they want it, and we'll go through that section in a minute. They have 13 players 26 years or younger, including that I believe there's 10 that's 23 or younger. It's going to get better, and what they've accomplished as far as getting that taste of playoff basketball is the best thing that could have happened to this organization. You didn't want to be playing out the string and 25 wins and stuff, but I mean, it starts with Gilgeous-Alexander. Certainly, he's going to be on first or second team, and then you just build around this roster. And as I said, I think there's 2 different paths that Oklahoma City can go this, as far as, they've got 14 players under contract. They're basically going to have to, take a little bit of a quality over quantity approach as far as what their roster. I mean, certainly the offseason expands to 21, so there is some flexibility there. But as I said, you add that pick to the mix, but there's so much flexibility. The 2 paths with their finances, they can become a cap space team. They rarely never do. Or they can act as a team over. A team over basically is you add up your trade exceptions, you add up your mid-level, you add up your biannual, and that keeps you over. The difference this offseason compared to prior off seasons is that they don't have those big trade exceptions. Like I wrote in here, in 21-22, they had $79 million in guaranteed contracts. Or technically, that was the year when they below the minimum floor. They had technically 33 in cap space. However, they had a $12 million trade exception and a $9.5 million trade exception. You add your mid-level up to that, and they basically acted as a team over the cap. So we'll see what direction they go. as far as with this roster, but those are the two ways to go. And as far as the top front office priority, I wrote, it's basically simple. It's patience. It's like every time teams want to taste success, you want to know what's next. What's more? How do we get to that next step? And for me, it's patience with this. And I said, like, there's always that temptation to add outside of your own family. They have built this roster organically. Even Lou Dort, who was signed as a free agent to that big contract this offseason, he was signed as an undrafted free agent, two-way guy, and then kind of he's one of theirs, right? Dario Saric was acquired in a trade. Every player on this roster, Gilgeous-Alexander was acquired in a trade. They don't go out and sign those big free agents. And I said the timeline is different now compared to 2017 when I went out and got Paul George. Like, they weren't really in those middle stage. They were kind of an all-in team then. They're still in the middle stages of development. And what I said is they're in the middle stages of the development. They're in the middle stages of analyzing their roster. How do you know what fits around this team until you kind of experience what they just went through, another year with Holmgren in the mix, and then maybe you go out and become spenders here because you have all these guys on rookie contracts. Like Giddey's not extension eligible to next offseason, and then that contract won't hit until the 2020, what are we, 23, 24, 24, 25? The 2025 offseason, I believe. So Jalen Williams is on his first. He'll be going into the second year. So you are in this, as I said, like, what you have to do is analyze what you have and then go out and become spenders here. Because the one thing you don't want to do is go out and spend on a $20 million guy and be like, oh my God, he doesn't fit with this group here. So they're still in this middle stage, although they got into that second playing game and everything. And patience. Just have patience with this roster. Like, I don't even want to say the window is wide open. Like, the window is cracked, and now it's going to be like kind of just pushing it up here and everything. Really little as far as extension candidates. Saric, Poco, Jeremiah Robinson are all those really it. Team needs, besides another year of development and healthy Holmgren shooting. At their best when Gilgeous-Alexander's driving the basket, one of the two players averaging 5+ assists on opportunities on kick-out passes, leading to a three. Thank you, Matt Williams. I know they have Isaiah Joe, who ranked in the top 10 in catch and shoot threes, but they only still managed to shoot 36% from three. But, I mean, as I said, your draft picks are loaded, right? Basically, they got all, not including this year, all 6 of their own first, 2 unprotected from LA in 24 and 26, top 4 protected from Houston in 24 and 26, top 10 protected from Utah in 24. It's got protection contingent. Top 14 protected from Miami in 25 turns into unprotected. Top 6 protected from Philly in 2025, got some protections. Top 5 protected from Denver in 2027, 28, or 29. Swap rights with the Clippers this year. It's not going to happen. And then in 2025, swap rights with Houston in 2025. That's top 10 protected. As I said, it is loaded in Oklahoma City, but just have patience. Let this roster organically grow. And if you know Sam Presti, how he's built this, he's not jumping in 2 feet into the deep end, right? You're going to look at what just happened this season. You're looking at these 2 playing games, figure out how to get better internally, add in Holmgren, and then build from there. That is it. That's team number 14. Now we go on to the playoffs. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.